Erev Tov, Rabotai. Tonight is the Goyish holiday. Everybody knows, I don't have to tell you what it's called, right? I'm not going to say the name. But anyway, I want to tell you, right, what is the Jewish outlook regarding these things? The Jewish way of thinking, halacha. So there is a pasuk, in Vaikra Yudchet. It says over there, Uvechukotechem lo telechu. That's what it says. You know what that means? Don't go in the laws of the Goyim. So explains the Sifri over there, the Midrash. It means that don't do the customs of the minhagim of the Goyim, If they do it, we don't do it. We don't want to be like them. So it doesn't matter, if it's Avodah Zarah, even if it's not Avodah Zarah, just a minhag. A Goyish minhag. So the rule is, that don't do like the Goyish minhag. Be different than them, don't be like them. The HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't want us to be like them. Even though they're doing something which is, apparently nothing wrong with it, it seems like it's a good idea, I'm thanking Hashem, thanking God, Thanksgiving, I'm thanking. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with it is because you're doing like a goy. You're behaving like a goy. It's not a good thing to be like that. So therefore, the truth is, I have to tell you one thing, which is really funny. The question is, are they allowed to do this? The goyim themselves, are they allowed? That's the question, So it could be, that they're not allowed to do it either. And I'll tell you why. Because it says the Rambam, from the Talmud, he brings, that the goyim are not allowed to make their own religion, a different religion. They're not allowed, They made their religion. They made this religion, that religion, right? But they're not allowed to make a new religion. They have no right to do that. The goyim, They're supposed to follow the Torah also. The 7 mitzvot of the Bnei Noach. That's all they have. They don't have a new religion. So they're not allowed to make a new religion, So why, makes it all kinds of different customs, religious customs, all kinds of things. Thanksgiving, I'm giving thanks. Who told you to do this? You're making your own religion. Hashem doesn't want that. So I don't think he wants them to do it either. But they're not going to listen to us, So we're not going to waste our time, telling them these things, They're going to say you're crazy, They're not going to listen. So we don't need that, We don't need to get involved with that, to fight with them about these things, But at least with ourselves, we have to do. So I'll tell you, if you really have a craving for turkey, you know what you do, right? Eat it for Shabbat, tomorrow night, Leil Shabbat, eat it for Seudat Mitzvah. Instead of doing Seudat tonight, no Mitzvah. Tomorrow you do, it's a Seudat Mitzvah, Shabbat, Leil Shabbat. That's the best thing to do. If you really want turkey, have it tomorrow night. That's it, for Shabbat. Then you're gonna be doing good, right? You're not gonna do like them. They're doing tonight. We're doing tomorrow night, whatever, right? Something like that. That's the way to do it. To be different than them, not to be the same as them. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Okay, so the truth is, that Moshe Feinstein, Alav Shalom, he also has a tshuva about this. In Igrot Moshe, his book Or Chaim. He also writes over there, then it's not allowed to do this, to celebrate this holiday. That's what he says. So, there are also other things that he said about it, there are all kinds of issues, there are all kinds of details. I'm not going to get involved with the details right now, it's not important. But, as a general rule, we don't want to be like the Goyim, we don't want to be like them. We have no business with them, We have our religion, we have our customs, don't try to be like them, when you try to be like them, you're lowering yourself, you're going down. You're not going up. You're going down. That's the whole thing, so we don't want to do that. Okay, that's one thing, right? I say this every year, to people, so they should know. What can I tell you? Not everybody listens to us, but if they listen, they listen. If they don't listen, what can we do, right? Hashem Yazor. Hashem shall help us. Okay, so anyway, right, besides this, I want to tell you another thing, which I mentioned before one time, which is, that in the Yalkut Yosef, the rabbi there, the chief rabbi, he wrote this book, about 20 years ago, this edition that I'm talking about here. About 20 years ago, he put it out. I was in Israel at that time, and I said to myself, I read it, what he wrote there, and I said to myself, something doesn't seem right, what he wrote here. So I said to myself, one day I'm going to write, myself, against what he says here. And I just did it this week, I wrote a tshuva against what he wrote over there. And I'll explain to you what it is, So let me explain to you. He says over there in the Yalkut Yosef in Yorodea Chelek Bet that when it comes to tuna fish, right? Everybody eats tuna fish. We all eat, right? Sometimes you don't have a meal you made, so you open up a can, you eat. That's your meal, quick, fast meal. Everybody eats tuna fish, right? We all like it. It's good. It's good stuff. It's good. Nothing wrong with it, right? Tuna salad also, same thing, right? So the thing is, that there are on tuna fish, the cans of tuna fish, there are many hechshers, kashrut. There are many different types. There's OU, right? That's the most common one, right? That most people see on the can, right? OU. Then there's also other one, star K, right? Which is Rabbi Heinemann's Hechsher, right? Allah Shalom. I think he already passed away. His son now took over. There's also other ones, right? All kinds of Hechsherim, on tuna fish. Those are just two. There's more. There's also the Israeli Hechsher, the ones from Israel. Okay, whatever. But he says, right, that the Yalkut Yosef, he says there that the one which is OU, you shouldn't eat that. He says, don't eat this one. So the question is why, right? What's wrong with OU? Why they're not rabbis? What? They don't have any rabbis there. What's wrong with it? Right. So the answer is like this, right? He writes something interesting. He says that the policy of the OU when it comes to tuna fish, okay, is that there's no mashgiach temidi, in the factory. You know what this means, mashgiach temidi? That means there's a Jew there, all the time in the factory watching everything. Mashgiach temidi, always there, 24 hours a day, he's there. Somebody's there. So the OU doesn't require this for tuna fish. They don't require. They say it's okay, you don't need it. So the truth is, that it's very hard to do mashgiach temidi in tuna fish. You know why? Because where they make tuna fish, where they produce it. Do you know where it is? The mif'al, right? You know where it is? The factory, mechila. It's factory. Where's the factory? You know where it is? In Puerto Rico. It's far away, So Puerto Rico, there aren't really many Jews over there, There's no minyan there, Jewish, life. So the problem is, no mashgiach wants to go and be there all the time. Because there's no minyan, there's no nothing. Yeah. So nobody wants to go there and be there all day. They say, I want to be Jewish, I want to be in a Jewish neighborhood, I want to be in a Jewish community, I don't want to be in Puerto Rico. What business do I have over there? So nobody wants to go, So what they do is, the Mashiach comes there, like once every 2 weeks, something like that. He comes and checks what's going on, but he's not there every day, he's not there all day. Okay, so what's the problem, right? Tuna fish, anyway it's kosher, tuna fish. It's a kosher fish, it has fins and scales. It does have.
By itself, yes.
Yeah, it does have. So, but the thing is like this, here's the tricky part. It's a little bit tricky. Because tuna fish, it's not one type. There are many types of tuna fish, different types. Okay? So apparently, right, there are some that are not kosher, there are some types of tuna fish which are not kosher. And also, what they do is, when the fishermen, right, they go, to catch the tuna, sometimes comes up in the net, there also fish which is not kosher, comes up together. So what happens is, that he's claiming in the Yalkut Yosef that sometimes what happens is that the non-kosher fish is also there, in the net, and then it goes into the factory, and it gets mixed up with the kosher one together, tarovet. This is what he's claiming, So he says, right, that they sent one time the Rabbanut in Israel, they sent a mashgiach over there, to check in the factory there in Puerto Rico, right, to see if there's non-kosher fish over there, or everything is kosher 100%. So this rabbi claimed, the one who went there, that there was also non-kosher fish there. So that's why they said, don't eat this OU. You know why? Because OU doesn't require mashgiach there all the time. So sometimes also non-kosher fish get in, also there.
They don't have a sorting station over there?
Huh?
They don't have a sorting station?
Yeah, but here's the thing, right? Since there's no Jews there, can you trust the goy, to do this, kashrut, you know what I mean? The goy is going to be mashgiach. You know what I mean? That's the problem, you know what I mean? This is the thing. The goy is going to be mashgiach for you. The goy is going to tell you, yeah, don't worry, everything is kosher. How does he know if everything is kosher? Oh, he's a goy,
He knows the fish, he's going to put it on.
He knows, it's true, but we don't trust the goy for kashrut. You know what I mean? The mashgiach has to be a Jew. That's the thing, because he doesn't have yirat shamayim. He doesn't believe in the Torah. So for him, it's nothing, it's a joke. It's not nothing, that's the thing. Okay, that's what he says. So here's the thing, right? I tried, from my side, to look at it a little bit differently, to make a heter, to be more lenient here. To be more easy with this thing. And I'll tell you how I did it. I'll tell you how I came up to the conclusion. Okay, so I have to tell you a few rules, about halacha, about kashrut. And I'll explain to you. I'm going to do it quickly, because I can't stay here all night. I don't want to keep you here, all night over here until chatzot alayla. So I'm going to do it very quickly. There's a rule like this, when it comes to dry, foods, right? Same type of food, they're both fish and they're both dry. So the rule is, when they get mixed in, non-kosher and kosher, if its majority is kosher, it's kosher. Batel berov. So therefore, for sure, right, we know that the majority over there is kosher. You know what I mean? It's not like the majority is not kosher. You know what I mean? It's not that much. It's a minority. So it's batel b'shishim, but batel berov even.
You're not measuring 1 to 60?
Right, the thing is, when it comes to dry, same type, even majority is good enough. You don't need even 60.
55?
Right, exactly. 51 is good. 51. Can you imagine? 51. Okay, 51 is good. Anyway, right, the truth is that there's even 60 there, even that they have. But the point is like this, right? That's one thing. But there's more issues over here going on, There's another issue, which is that, how do I know? Maybe, the majority is not kosher. How do I know? How do I know? I don't even know that. I don't have a mashgiach there all the time. How do I know? So, you know what the answer is, right? That this is like something, there's a concept in halacha like this, that uman la mara le nafsheh. So what does that mean? That the goy, he doesn't care about kashrut, but he cares about business, doing things the right way. You know what I mean? To do everything proper and straight. So the thing is, they're telling you, right? I'm selling you tuna fish, which is albacore. There's 3 types, that they use for the tuna fish that we eat. There's albacore, which is the highest quality one, and then there's skipjack, and there's yellowfin. Those are the 3 that they use, for human consumption, for humans, for people. So this is the one that they use. So all those 3 types are kosher. That we know, right? That we know for sure. So he's telling you, right, the company, I'm selling you albacore, right? That's what it says in the can, right? You go, bumblebee, right? It says albacore. Albacore is kosher, So he's not gonna tell you, right? He's not gonna sell you dolphins, and tell you it's albacore tuna. You know what I mean? Because this is the fraud. The goy doesn't want to do this kind of thing, It's not good for his business. You know what I mean? This is the thing. So this is the rule, and there is actually a Bet Yosef like this, It says Bet Yosef like this, exactly what I'm telling you. It says Bet Yosef, if you have like a big pile, barrels of tuna fish. He talks about tuna fish there. Tunina, it's called tunina in Bet Yosef, older name, right? Now we call it tuna. In those days, it was called tunina. Right? So it doesn't matter, it's all the same, right? It's all the same fish. So it says over there, right, even if you can see some of them which are kosher, says Bet Yosef, we assume that they're all kosher. Because, the businessman doesn't want to, mix in, different types of fish. He's selling you tuna. He's not gonna play games like that, the businessman. Not because of kashrut, because of business, He's got to do everything straight, to have a good reputation, to have a good, to have a good, business policy. You know what I mean? He doesn't want to play games like that. So it says Bet Yosef, they're all kosher, even though some of them you see kosher, and some of them you don't see. But we assume, right, that since they're only selling over here tuna fish, nothing else, they're not making any other type of fish, only tuna, so they're not going to sell you something else. We assume that it's all kosher. That's what it says in Bet Yosef. So therefore, we don't assume, that the goy is selling you some other kind of fish, and calling it tuna albacore. No such a thing like that. The goy's not going to do that. I mean, it's not good policy for him to do such a thing like this. So therefore, right, this is the thing. So therefore, right, Rabbi, it doesn't really, there is room to be lenient, when it comes to the OU. Because even though they don't have mashgiach temidi there, they don't have mashgiach all the time, but the truth is, that it does get nullified anyway. If there's some non-kosher fish in there, it does get nullified. And also, as we said, right, that, the businessman, the goy, right, doesn't want to have mixed up together. And also, by the way, there's a law, you should know, in America, there's a law like this, which says you cannot mix different types of fish together. If you're selling one fish, it has to be only that one, not any other one. So there's also a law like that as well, in America. But the law, okay, it's no big deal. Why? Because even if they get caught, cheating, they're just going to pay a small fine, it's no big deal. They make, anyway, enough money to cover that, so it's not a big deal. The law is not the biggest thing. The thing is, more like, just proper business, right, the business structure, proper business policy. That's the reason why. So therefore, right, the Herschel Hechsher, who's the rabbi of the OU, he says, right, that it's okay to do like this. To even though they don't have mashkiach temidim, mechila.
So, if I have a choice to buy OU produce, OU or Star K, what my choice?
Right, so we're talking about tuna, right? Not every kind of food, because different foods have different policy. So we cannot say about everything. You know what I mean? We're talking about tuna fish right now, right? So when it comes to tuna fish, yes, Star K is better, because they have mashkiach tamidi there, they have mashkiach all the time. So it's more kosher, 100%, no doubts, no nothing. But if a person, mechila.
What about other products?
We can't talk about everything now. We're going to be here all night, right? I cannot keep you over here all night. We'll go little by little, Next time, if you have a question about some other produce, we can talk about that one. But anyway, the point is, Rabbi, I'm not going to keep you long. So the point is, that because of this, since, the OU has the clear policy, regarding this, and they have a svara, their svara, their thinking is correct. It's halakhically sound. So therefore, with all due respect, to Yalkut Yosef, but the minhag over here is, we buy the OU, the tuna fish, and we eat it, so we're not going to, go crazy with this thing. So therefore, right, the rule is, Rabbatai, that you can buy the OU, but as you said, right, the Star K is better. So, if you can find that one, and the quality is not any less, or whatever, and the price is not too high, you're not paying double the money, I don't know, whatever it is, right? So then, Star K is better, you're right. Baruch Adonai Leolam, Amen ve'amen. רבי חנן כשומר, אצל הקדוש ברוך הוא לא זכור ישראל, לפיך חיברה להם תורה ומצוות שנאמר לחפש, למען צדקו יגדיל תורה בידי.